Hey everybody, I'm Joey Evans.
And I'm Alex Evans.
And we're going to talk about Cascadia today.
We are, but not the Cascadia that you're probably thinking about.
Not the Cascadia, but the roll and ride Cascadia.
Hey.
The rolling hills
And
rolling rivers. Now you might wonder, why are you guys reviewing both these games at the same time? Well, because they're very similar.
yeah, correct.
Yeah, so these are obviously based on the art from Cascadia, but in a roll and ride form. So before we get to what we thought about these games, let's first see how they're played. We are set up for a game now of Cascadia, either rolling rivers or rolling hills. They both play very similar, a few small differences. I'll mention those in a moment. But pretty much this is a quick overview about how the game is played. It's very simple. This should be a quick overview. You're going to get a player aid. Just like this, it shows a round summary. You're going to roll dice, collect wildlife, complete a habitat card, and that's it, and you can convert. So let's, first off, we have these community dice here in the middle. These are dice everyone's going to use, and the whole thing is each person is going to get their sheet, just like this, and also another resource sheet. These are the different wildlife you can connect. You're going to start off with one of everything, and then 2 acorns there at the bottom. So you're going to collect all of these different animals. So again, there are different sheets here. This is the A sheet, and they all get a little bit more difficult and more, I guess, I want to say harder, but really they get more complex as you go further down there. But this is the one to usually start off with. First off, the first card is going to be turned over just like this. And you'll notice that has what it needs to complete that card. So first off, the community dice are rolled. And then you're going to roll your 2 dice like this. And now you can take one of any animal you see. For example, right here, I've got salmon showing on mine. So I'm going to go, I could take 3 salmon. Or I could take 2 of the birds right here. Or there's only 1 fox. So you could take one of any animal that is across all the community dice and your dice. So if I had a couple of birds here, I could take those. So that's all it is. You're going to take those. And then say I went ahead and I rolled 3 birds. I would then take my resource card here. I would mark off the 1, and I would put a 3 there. I actually have 4, because then I now have 4 birds, and I've got 4 right there. And that's all that is with the dice face. That's the rolling and the collecting of the wildlife. I won't go through all of these, but this one, for example, this is like the +1 other right here. Can you see that? Can it focus in? There we go. And then use 1 personal dice twice. So they had different mitigation. This one right here is the acorn. Things cost 1 less. Now, the collecting wildlife, there's one thing you're going to notice on the round summary here. There's some mitigation on the wildlife. So you've got your acorns here. These are the cost of the acorn. The acorns are going to cost, or be what you pay for different dice actions. So a down convert costs 1 acorn, which means you convert all of 1 wildlife to take the type below it. So I can go from foxes down here to the eagles there. And then there's up convert, so you can take the one above it, and that is 2. And that is, of course, going the other way. And then you pay 3 acorns to take any 2 wildlife types instead of 1. Okay, so that is it. So then if you can complete, for example, if I were able to complete this card right here, if I had on my sheet here, if I had 2 bears, a bird, and 2 salmon, then I would complete this card. So I would then take everything down here. I would take the green. So I would right here, I would place a 2 right in there. I would then get an extra acorn. I'd place the acorn on my resource sheet, and then I would get another +1 acorn down here. Then everything slides over. Once everyone's done, slides over, flip over the next card. Now notice now you can still complete this, but you're going to get a different reward down here. So as these go forward, you're going to get different rewards, and as they come off the end, they go away, and more come out. And that is complete habitat cards. You're going to keep going until the last card is flipped. So at the very end, you're going to have 4 cards over there. And then you're going to count up your victory points. Now, let's go again to this right here. This is going to be where you start to fill in the numbers. Now, like I said, all of these are different. But on the basic one, the first one, you're going to put your victory points in the center. And then if you get this entire row, you can get 3 victory points and a wild resource. Put those over here. This again, you add them up. And if you ever get the second one, you're going to get this area here, which is a victory point and a sun, meaning you could take one of these. So I can take right here a bear and a salmon if I want to and mark it off. Or I could take 2 acorns or a straight victory point. All right, so then you have different things, and at the very end, you're going to add up all of these, and that is your point score for the game. Fairly simple. Now, this is Cascadia Rolling Rivers. Cascadia Rolling Hills has a slightly different die and also different maps on there. Now, I will show you a bit more of the other maps here. Like I said, this is a simple one. Once you start this, you're going to want to jump to something a bit meatier. Let's jump down here. So this one gives you starting points, and as you start to get these different land areas here, you're going to circle them, and you're going to branch out, getting different victory points as you go out, and you're also going to activate different landmarks and different suns to get different resources there. So this does kind of scale up in difficulty through that. One thing I will mention in here is these right here are the different completion cards. There are several more in the game that can come out that are going to show up. So these are just the basic ones it tells you to start with. So later you can change things. Right here, these will go at the bottom to add some more variety to each game. But that's pretty much how you play Cascadia, Rolling Rivers, and Rolling Hills. Let's send it back and see what we thought about it. Okay, so that's a quick overview about Cascadia, Rolling X.
Yes.
Rivers or hills. So again, that's just a very quick overview because really it all depends on the map that you're going to play because that's where a lot of the variability comes from in all of these. Now, first off, learning it.
Yes.
We played this initially with a couple of people that I think was their first roll and write.
The first time I played this was at Gen Con, actually, at AG's Big Game Night.
I forgot that. You
yes,
did play it.
I did. And the people at my table had never played a roll and write before. So at Big Game Night, we played Map A, right?
Okay.
And I think that was the perfect situation to play Map A because Map A
Right.
is very basic, right?
Yes.
So they got an idea of what a roll and write was, and they got an idea of what this game was. I think that was perfect.
I
Yes.
agree, and that's how when I played it first with you was with another couple that had not played a roll and write, and I remember them going, "This was good," and us going, "This was just blah."
Yes, for
because
sure.
it's very that first map that I think I showed you on there is very, very, very vanilla. You know, you're just kind of figuring out resources. It's more of like training wheels, I think.
Correct. And I also feel like Map B is kind of the same way. I feel like
Yes.
if you've done lots of roll and writes before, definitely jump to C and D. Those maps are phenomenal. I really enjoy that. Map D is pretty much made to be played almost like you're playing Cascadia because you've got to do your bears and the winning conditions for the animals are like the actual game of Cascadia, which is fantastic.
Right, and see, you like Cascadia more than I do.
Yes.
Right, so I
Yeah,
like
for sure.
roll and write, so I'm like, I want to try this. Now, I agree. A and B, we played through both, and we didn't review those because we're like, I was not liking it at all.
For sure.
You know.
Yeah.
We were very public about it. Too.
Yes. I was going to say I had a roller coaster of emotions when we first played A and B. I was like, oh no. But then we powered through to do C and D, and I'm like, well, this is phenomenal.
Yes, we ended up playing C and D with somebody else, and they were like, "This is great." Because then, when you play that like C and D, the later ones, you have those crunchy decisions to where not only where to use your resources, but then also where to move on your track. You're like, I'm going to go ahead and move this way. There are more victory points over here. I'm going to activate these suns and get these resources. And then towards what I love about a lot of these games is not only the rolling with the Cascadia when you're getting different things, but the variant in where you're going to go in your map. You know, because you're not tied down on the same thing because you have those two die that give variability, but then also you have now the map that you're going to go different areas and you don't know what card is coming out, whether you're going to go full into mountains and fields over here and not be able to come back and get certain things.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, so I really, really do like that.
I know. Like I said, those later maps, if you love roll and writes, I would say definitely jump to C and D. If you want to introduce people to roll and writes, this is a great game because, like I said, maps A and B really kind of, like you say, the training wheels. It's great. I love that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's now the one thing is the other thing is luck based. It comes down to dice rolls or die rolls. It's just. But there is some mitigation that happens, and the mitigation could happen through that bonus die.
Yes.
You know, and also through your acorns, you can kind of scale up and down, and sometimes you can use those to get 2 animals instead.
I love that.
So that itself, so yes, is there luck in this? Of course there is. There's die rolls. So it's going to happen. But it's also can be mitigated.
Correct. There is something you can do. You have some power to fix some things.
I do like that. Now, one thing I will say people may complain about, and this has never been a problem for me at all in any game, and it might seem a bit multiplayer solitaire because you are kind of doing your own board.
Correct.
But that for me is okay, because for me that's a logic puzzle about how I can get the most points from the shared information in the middle and my board.
Yes.
You know, and I think I don't mind that at all. I mean, player interaction I love as well, but if it doesn't have it, that's not a deal breaker for me.
Absolutely.
So know that going in, there's not a lot of player interaction, and some people may call it multiplayer solitaire.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. They might, but like I said, I'm like you. I don't mind that. So, you know, and that's one reason I like roll and write sometimes. I think it is multiplayer solitaire, but I love roll and write, so I don't mind that.
Right, and that's just, and then as far as getting both, one thing I saw people are doing, instead of using that resource, marking your resources on the actual card, they've used the resources from the original Cascadia.
Genius.
So you actually have those pieces and you kind of pay them, and that kind of gives a more tactile feel to it.
I love that.
It takes away from what the roll and write is. It's just a pad of paper and you write it down, but having those resources, pulling them in and spinning those animals is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so really you're wondering, do you need both? That's the big thing. Do you need both rolling rivers and rolling hills?
Yes.
And you kind of want to say no, because they're similar enough.
Correct, absolutely. I would say the only reason to get both would be, and there's a way the rules explain it, to have an 8-player of Cascadia rolling.
Right.
That would be the only reason I would say to have both.
Yes.
The maps are different on both of them, but they're similar enough that you don't necessarily need both.
No, I mean, it gives you, having all those, the more maps would gives you more variability.
Correct.
You know, but you don't technically need both, but if you like it, more gameplay is always a positive.
That's always a win.
Right.
One thing I was going to say that kind of frustrates me, but not in a huge way, is that I wish that the bonus die was a different color, and I also wish the die that had your personal die that has the bear on, I wish that was a different color. That way then when you're handing out the die, it's just a little easier to make sure you don't give someone 2 bears and someone no bears. But
yes.
I wish that, but it's not a huge thing. You've just got to be aware of that one dice has a bear, one dice doesn't have a bear. Not a big thing. I just wish that was a different color, and I wish that bonus, I call it the bonus die. The bonus die with all the extra things on it was just a different color. That's just a little thing, but it's not huge.
I agree with that too,
Yeah.
especially the bear. Like one of your die has a bear, one doesn't.
Yes.
I've seen people try to use their rerolls to go
And to get a bear.
I have to say, you know, there's no bear on it. Right?
Yes.
So they're like,
Yes.
really? I'm like, yeah, it's not gonna happen.
yeah.
So you never get 2 bears.
No.
But anyway, so okay, so that's Cascadia Rolling Rivers. I'm going to come in at a 7.5 on this.
Yeah.
If you like Cascadia, or even if you were fine on Cascadia like I was, but you like Rolling Rides, this is good, because this honestly I like, because it runs the whole gamut. It's a game that you can play with new gamers and experienced gamers. New gamers, you're going to go ahead and hit the map A. Then experienced gamers, you're going to say, hey, let's jump to C or D. Let's get one of these more crunchy ones.
Absolutely. I'm going to come in with a 7.5 too. I love roll and rides. Like I said, I really enjoy C and D. Playing those games, I think, is fantastic. I had a great time playing those games.
I agree. So check it out. Cascadia Rolling Rivers and Rolling Hills. Let us know what you thought about it. So, all right, I'm Joey.
I'm Alex.
And we will see you later on the channel.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey folks, thanks for joining us for that video. If you haven't yet, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hey, make sure you check out what's happening, where I'll cover an app on an iOS or a Switch device, and you can check it out along with me. Thanks very much. You've been watching The Dice Tower.